Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com. Very quickly, follow us in the Freedom Zone by clicking the join button underneath any title, or go into the description box and join us on Patreon. Same price, same perks. Today we're getting into trade deals. Mainstream media defector tells the truth, and closing the honeypot on politicians. Oh, you're going to like what we got today. Make sure you join us inside. Remember, all videos, zero Google ads. That's worth the price of admission right there. Less than the cost of a cup of coffee per month. Join us inside. Taking a look now, what do we see? It is, let me refresh here, $3 trillion market cap for crypto. Even though the market's pulled back slightly, 2.9%, we still see Bitcoin 92,600 plus, Ethereum 1,700 plus, XRP is $2.16. We're off 5.1 in the 24, and we're up 2.9 on the 7-day. The range of price very quickly here is ranging between, let me just refresh because it's been popping around a little bit. There we go. We're 217 and we're ranging between 213 and 229. So we will keep an eye on it here. Let's take a look at this to get started. FBI says Americans lost $9.3 billion to crypto scams in 2024. Now, I understand that sometimes we get caught off guard. It's happened to me. I've been hacked before as well. It happens. And it does happen. But one thing I can say is if you want to take those extra steps and measures to make sure you're really protected, one of the things you can do is open up and click the link, go to xrpwealth589.com. xrpwealth589.com. Open your free account with Caleb and Brown, because Digital Asset Investor and myself have come together with Caleb and Brown to recognize that they offer institutional custody with no charge. They offer human representative service, whether it is a technical issue with your account or whether you want to speak to a broker. You will speak to a human being. And guess what? When it comes to those scams, you can put additional markers on your account to make sure. Like, I know one gentleman that says he set a marker on his account with his personal rep that you cannot get on any other crypto platform. He said, I want to make it so I have to do a Zoom call to prove that I'm alive and that I'm a human being and that I'm not under duress before anything can happen to my account. And now that is very safe because it will take him going there. I even had one of the reps that I spoke with told me that he has one of his clients that said he physically has to go to Caleb and Brown's office in order to remove the account. This is what the customer wanted, to ensure that something couldn't be done to his account without him knowing it. This is the kind of level of protection and customer service that you're getting. I'm telling you, look, I'm just sharing this with you. You don't have to do a damn thing, but I've been here a bunch, and I've been here for 7 years, and I am now getting the best night's sleep I've ever had. I can tell you that. XRPwealth589.com. Get started and start getting a really great night's sleep. Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson says he doesn't think Ethereum will survive more than 10 years. Remember, Charles Hoskinson used to be the CEO of the EEA too. Listen. Well, I thought you were going to hear something. It should load momentarily. It's at this point that you realize this is the kind of high budget operation I'm not running here. 1 second.
And, it's kind of weird now, but it'll be awesome in 3 to 5 years. For them at their scale and size, it'll take.
He was talking about ADA being great and awesome. Now he's talking about the comparison to Ethereum and Vitalik and how it's going to take them longer and it's not worth it.
5 to 7 years to build an on-chain government. So I don't think Ethereum will survive, more than 10 years to 15 years. The layer twos will continue to suckle out all of the alpha. And people will start fighting, and it'll get harder and harder for Vitalik to be able to hold it together through sheer force of will. and users will gradually migrate to other places, and then they're going to get eclipsed by Bitcoin DeFi.
There you have it. That's his picture of the next 10 years, and it isn't good for Ethereum. How about that one? New SEC Chair Paul Atkins is set to speak at the SEC Crypto Roundtable this Friday. Super exciting. Don't forget, Dr. Chris Brummer is also on that new crypto council for the SEC, and he will be on stage at XRP Las Vegas interviewing Brad Garlinghouse in a fireside chat. Did you get your tickets yet? You know, make the investment in yourself and come to this conference. There's so much. And I tell you, we're starting to map out the conversation with the Honorable Christian Carlo. You're not going to want to miss it. Not going to want to miss it. Cody Carbone sends out this message, and I think it is timely. He says, pass stablecoin legislation now. And he's saying this based on the tweet that was put out here that says the Senate is likely putting its stablecoin bill to a vote in the next 2 weeks. Oh, sources tell this person, Sander Lutz, and Coinbase is lobbying to prevent the bill from passing on its own because the company worries lawmakers may not have the appetite to pass a market infrastructure bill later on. This, I think, is bad news. I'm with Cody Carbone on this. If you can get something passed, you pass it. That's the way this works. And then passing that stablecoin bill will put the impending pressure on Congress to continue to bring the rest of the legislation to pass. That's what I see going on here. I see Cody pushing for that as well, and I support that idea. Let's get the bills passed. Together, separate, what have you, pass them. And here we see breaking news. China has released an action plan to promote the use of the yuan and its own payment system in international trade. Hello, New Bretton Woods, and welcome to the XRP Ledger. We're moving to a multipolar world. Lock in. Listen, I believe that this is exactly why, this digital asset space was created, and certainly XRP and the XRP Ledger. You don't have to, but I do. Now, we know who this is. This is Tukrium's CEO. I just need to play this again to level set.
Use case that you mentioned, because a lot of folks watching probably would have the reaction, the only use case for Ripple and some of these other tokens out there is speculation. So what?
Okay, nice try. I stopped it on the video yesterday, but I have to do it again. First of all, it's not Ripple. Ripple's a company. XRP's the asset. Number two, there isn't just speculation for XRP because there's actually real use case. And if you had actually done the work that a journalist would do, you know that they've had $70 billion worth of payment flows from the actual financial institutions of the world move across the XRP ledger for payments. But far be it beyond me to tell you how to do your job. You're not a journalist. You should be unemployed. That's really what we're talking about here. Let's listen.
What is the actual use case of XRP?
Okay, so XRP, that's absolutely not the case. You can speculate in it because it's out there and trading. But XRP, they started Ripple, and I'm not going to speak for them, okay? But they started Ripple to facilitate transactions, moving money around, okay? But now it's literally helping tokenize everything. As they develop their level 2 build out, they are really going to tokenize everything. They've just bought a broker-dealer clearing member, as you may know, and I think that's the first step toward integrating traditional finance with DeFi. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a breakthrough. It is a breakthrough, but it'll happen slower than people think.
Okay.
There you go. Now listen to this right quick, where he also sets the record straight and says, it has the most utility out there. This is killing the two people on the Bloomberg desk. I love this. Those people should be unemployed too, by the way.
Ripple's a company of really professional people working really hard on this. That's why we chose XRP. We believe in XRP. We're not making a price prediction, but we do believe it's a coin that will have the most utility out there.
That's tearing them up. Again, as I said, speculative trading, but all these money transmitter license and custody license. That's all. But it's just speculative trading to the woman on the Bloomberg desk, right? Well, how about this one? This is where we're going here. When everybody's money is tokenized and XRP sits in the middle of it all. Or how about the great Collateral experiment that just went down? You know the one I'm talking about. This one. The DTC clears the entire U.S. stock market to the tune of more than $2 quadrillion every year without fail. And it's about to entirely run on crypto assets. That's what is going down, right? Graham Rodford from Archax, you know, the guy that said 30 to 50 trillion moving all across the ledger being settled, right? Remember that guy? Just watched the great Collateral experiment, hands down the most compelling TradFi demo I've seen. Not just vision, but live. Working product showing how tokenized collateral can transform markets. That's what he's excited about. When the parent of the world's largest CSD makes this move, it's clear digital securities are the future. And guess what? That's why Ripple bought Hidden Road and start settling $3 trillion a year, right? I'm telling you, with 87 trillion on their books in over 131 countries, it's nice to know they're on board and can work with many networks. And those many networks absolutely include Ripple's network stack,
Tom
the
Sullivan.
XRP Ledger.
Tom Sullivan, Head of Business Development for Digital Assets at SocGen in New York.
Hi, Thomas.
I'm excited to talk about our stablecoin that was issued by SG Forge in 2023, EuroCV, also known as Coinvertible. The Coinvertible stablecoin was issued with the main purpose of driving capital markets activities on chain. It was issued on the Ethereum blockchain in 2023, and in 2024 it became MiCA compliant. Along the way, SG Forge has established a number of milestones, including becoming one of the first banks to become a virtual asset service provider in Europe and to be able to support the MiCA rules. When MiCA went live in 2024, it was fully MiCA compliant, and it was also became fully transferable on the Ethereum blockchain. Since then, it will now be available on several other blockchains, including Solana, Ripple, and Stellar. And we're looking forward to being able to use it as a means of cash and as a means of collateral using in this project.
All right, Tom, I see that the collateral movement that you just processed has already settled and our exposure is covered. That's amazing. You entered a movement on your side, and since we're using the same distributed ledger, I saw it update instantly within a matter of seconds, and my exposure is completely covered.
Joe, thanks so much. I mean, this has been so easy to do, and it's one of those things that when you think about all the time and effort we've spent in the past trying to find the right assets and to be able to deploy them and move them around and make sure that we have our assets reconciled, and to be able to do this so easily, it's just a breeze.
It's a breeze. Yeah. And he does mention Ripple, Stellar, Solana, Ethereum, right? And I just want to go over this very quickly here that Cassie Craddock is going to also remind us that the EuroCV is also on the XRP ledger, not just Ethereum as well. Just the same way that real USD is on the Ethereum network and the XRP
it's really been
ledger.
Interesting from a Ripple perspective. I'm responsible for Europe, and I think what we've seen over the last year, 18 months, 2 years or so is MiCA has really given banks and financial institutions this level of certainty to be able to lean into the blockchain and digital asset space. And so we've seen some really great innovative use cases on the back of that. So, we partnered with SocGen Forge, one of the leading banks here in France, firstly around custody. But now, more broadly on issuing their EuroCV stablecoin on XRP Ledger.
There you have it. So now we got it, right? It's Ripple and the XRP Ledger that are part of the 2 quadrillion great experiment, collateral experiment. How about that one? Yeah, loving that for us. And then we see European Central Bank warns that Trump's pro-crypto stance could trigger financial contagion that may destabilize Europe's economy. Well, I said it. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the greatest reason why every country should launch a stablecoin on the XRP ledger right now. The only way to avoid the fears of contagion, as the European Central Bank says it, is to join the party and launch a stablecoin on the XRP ledger. The new Bretton Woods awaits, ladies and gentlemen. Eggrag Crypto says this. Shout out to him. The OG's back. XRP to $27, then to $120. He says, I'm becoming increasingly convinced that we're mirroring the 2017 cycle, but the timing may be either delayed or accelerated. He says, as we approach the end of Wave 3 this summer, double digits. I believe Wave 4 will unfold over the next 3 years, followed by a bear market and the subsequent cycle reaching triple digits, taking us to the $120 he talked about. Do you see what I see? He says. Shout out to Greg Crypto, Dark Defender, Crypto Bull, and all the other technical analysts out here. We don't hold them to anything, but we know this. They're seeing something on this charts, and you have to ask yourself something. How come all of these technical analysts see something very similar? And every single one, to a man, has started to open up what they see as potential price as far as a ceiling and a top, too. So this is getting super exciting to watch. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Remember, we're going into the Freedom Zone. Click the join button or go underneath in the description box and join us in Patreon or on the YouTube. And we're going into trade deals, everything you need to know and catch up. Mainstream media defector tells all. Oh, you're going to love it. And closing the honeypot is way overdue. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Come on in. All right, welcome back. Let's get to the first piece